Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Tehran, unfazed by the new security pact between Pakistan, Turkey and Saudi Arabia, says not a threat to Iran. Ukraine steps up attacks on Russian oil refining facilities. Drone strike on Nizhny camps kills 13. Russia hit Zaporizhzhia, injuring many. New Delhi condemns vandalism at its Ljubljana embassy, urges Slovenia to act against anti-India perpetrators. And Western Europe experiences its hottest June-July as climate change fuels historic summer of heat. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai said on Monday that regional states have realized security cannot be bought from outside powers, adding that Tehran sees no reason to be concerned about a security pact between Pakistan, Turkey and Saudi Arabia.
Given the developments of the past 2 or 3 years, the regional countries have realized that security is not a commodity that can be purchased from dishonest brokers of security. The security in the region is certainly indivisible, and any plan that is based on the geopolitical and historical realities of the region is comprehensive and inclusive. Since we have deep religious, historical and civilizational ties with the 2 neighboring countries of Turkey and Pakistan as well as Saudi Arabia, there is no reason to worry that this treaty will be against Iran.
An update on Trump's latest Gaza plan. Despite the impasse, the Board of Peace continues to set up the base near Kerem Shalom, with diplomats saying that the ISF is months away from deployment. Trucks were seen entering the LSA endurance facility on Monday. The facility is meant to provide logistical support and act as a staging facility for the International Stabilization Force near the Israel-Gaza border in the Kerem Shalom area in southern Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu restated his rejection of Donald Trump's latest Gaza plan in televised remarks to its right-wing government on Sunday, even as Israel's military has effectively halted attacks in the territory under pressure from the U.S. president. Trump announced last month that there had been a breakthrough in his plan to end the war, to which both Israel and Hamas agreed, with Israeli forces withdrawing as Hamas disarms and an international stabilization force working with a new Palestinian police force to secure the enclave. Hamas endorsed the roadmap but protested when the Board of Peace later posted on X that it should give up light weapons such as guns and that Israel would only withdraw once disarmament was complete. The roadmap's next calls for the two to be linked in phases. A Russian airstrike on the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhzhia injuring 13 people. Ukraine's emergency service said the attack targeted multiple locations across the city, igniting fires on the roof of a 5-story residential building and destroying at least 4 cars. Meanwhile, Ukrainian drone strike on the central Russian region of Tatarstan killed at least 13 people in one of the deadliest attacks carried out by Kiev. Russian local authorities said that another 75 people were wounded, 21 of which had been hospitalized. Russia's Tatarstan region is rich in energy resources and has many major oil refineries that Kiev has been targeting in retaliatory strikes. Now, Western Europe experienced its warmest June-July period on record, with heat and drought fueling extreme wildfires across the region, the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service said on Monday. The report further said that globally, July temperatures were 1.47 degrees Celsius above the estimated pre-industrial 1850-1900 average, making it the second warmest month on record. Average June-July temperature for Western Europe reached 21.62 degrees Celsius or 2.79 degrees Celsius above average, surpassing the previous 2022 record. Sea surface temperature was highest recorded for July across the extra polar oceans, partly fueled by developing El Nino conditions in the equatorial Pacific. Exceptionally low rainfall and soil moisture led to much lower than average river levels in Europe, with the Seine, Rhine and Danube particularly impacted. France and Spain have battled their worst wildfires this summer, while other nations in Europe and as well as the US Northwest have also experienced serious blazes. Firefighters worked through the night into Monday to battle a wildfire near Terig in Spain's eastern Catalan province. The blaze has burned more than 810 hectares, which is 2,002 acres. According to Catalan fire authorities, about 700 residents were evacuated from the nearby town of Keti on Sunday as a precaution. The wildfire comes weeks after another major blaze in Catalan province near Valldeuixo burned nearly 10,000 hectares in late July. And wildfires in British Columbia burned hillsides near Summerland, forcing nearby Peachland residents to evacuate. An 80-year-old woman died while trying to escape the fire. Peachland mayor said that no homes had been lost in the community, but urged residents to remain patient and follow official instructions. So far, more than 20,000 people have been evacuated. Meanwhile, Typhoon Dolphin brought heavy rain to eastern China on Monday, disrupting air travel with hundreds of flight cancellations, even as the storm weakened and some cities resumed public transport. Torrential rainfall caused by Typhoon Dolphin flooded suburban areas and residential compounds around Shanghai, disrupting metro operations and ferry lines. All ferry services in the city were closed, and the Shanghai Metro announced suspensions to some lines in preparation for Dolphin's impact. The strongest typhoon to hit China this year, Dolphin is forecast to move deeper inland to the central provinces of Hubei and Henan in the coming days, while also pushing moisture north. Now, China remained Germany's leading trading partner in the first half of the year, according to new figures. But while imports from China increased, German exports to the world's second largest economy declined. And for more on what's driving these trends, we are joined by DW correspondent Chimponda Chimpelu. Hi Chimponda, good to have you with us. Chimponda, what do the latest figures tell us?
Well, China continues to outpace the United States in trade with Germany this year after overtaking the U.S. as Germany's leading trade partner in 2025. And that is what figures based on calculations made by Germany Trade and Invest show. Now, according to a report by news agency Reuters, the headline number there shows that German exports to China declined more than 12% in the first half of this year when compared to 2025. And the reasons for the decline in German exports have very much to do with the economic downturn in China. And even German companies that produce vehicles in China haven't been shielded from the trend. They all had disappointing second quarter earnings, also because of lower sales in China. But the trend was reversed for Chinese exports to Germany. They rose 9% on the year in the first 6 months of 2026.
Yes, Shimoda, also, how does Germany's trade with China compare with its trade with other major trading partners?
Well, China is actually ranked 9th when it comes to Germany's top export destinations. So trade between the two countries is very much uneven, and the trade deficit between Germany and China continues to expand. Now, the question, of course, is whether China will be falling out of Germany's top 10 destinations for exports. The United States remains number 1, and German exports to the U.S., though, still did decline, but they declined at a slower pace than they did to China in the first 6 months of this year. And that is despite Trump's tariff policies, which, of course, have made trade between the EU countries and the United States more uncertain. And Germany imported more from the United States in the first half of this year than it did in 2025. So those unpredictable trade policies of the Trump administration do not appear to be hurting the German appetite for U.S. goods. Now, while German exports to the world's two biggest economies fell, the trend was quite different here within the European Union.
All right, Chimponda and Chimbelu, will leave it at that. Thank you for inputs. Moving on, Meta faces a fresh U.S. trial over alleged harm to children from Instagram and Facebook. 4 states accuse the company of deliberately making its platforms addictive for minors and are seeking restrictions and up to $1.4 trillion in penalties. The trial begins Wednesday in Oakland with Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg among the expected witnesses. The case follows recent legal setbacks for Meta over alleged social media harms to children and teenagers. However, Meta has appealed or plans to appeal the rulings and says it is confident in its record of protecting teenagers online. Now, Meta has introduced Muse Glimmer, an open-weight agentic AI model designed to run on Mac computers and PCs. The company says it will also resume releasing some open-source AI models soon. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg said an independent board will have the authority to approve safety criteria for releasing models. The move comes as Meta outlines new measures around the safety and release of its AI systems. All right, time now for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Citizens enthusiastically take part in Har Ghar Tiranga March. A special invitation kit for the Independence Day celebrations at Rashtrapati Bhavan on August 15 has been designed by NID Ahmedabad. And on World Biofuel Day, a look at India's growing biofuel ecosystem. Detailed report after the break.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. India has strongly condemned the vandalism of the Indian embassy premises in Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, by anti-India elements. The Ministry of External Affairs said that such a reprehensible act cannot be accepted under any circumstances. In a statement condemning the incident, the Ministry of External Affairs said that under the Vienna Convention, diplomatic premises are inviolable and must be protected. India has taken up the matter strongly with Slovenian authorities both in New Delhi and Ljubljana so that the perpetrators behind such reprehensible acts are held accountable. India calls upon Slovenian law enforcement authorities to take note of the hateful propaganda and disinformation being spread by such groups. And the first day of the final week of the monsoon session of Parliament witnessed continued uproar and repeated disruptions in both the houses. The lower house or Lok Sabha was adjourned for the day on Monday amid the disruptions. Earlier, the House passed the Tribunals Reforms Bill 2026. The bill seeks to improve the efficiency, independence, transparency and uniformity in the qualifications, appointment and terms and conditions of service of chairpersons and members of various tribunals. It also provides for the establishment of a National Tribunals Commission and makes consequential amendments to related laws. In the upper house or Rajya Sabha, the House passed the Bankers' Books Evidence Bill 2026. The bill seeks to update the legal framework governing evidence relating to bankers' books in line with contemporary digital banking practices. It also provides for matters connected with or incidental to the use of bankers' books as evidence. Also in Rajya Sabha, the Taxation and Other Laws Amendment Bill 2026 was considered and returned to Lok Sabha. And people across the country are joining Tiranga Yatras with patriotic fervour as part of Har Ghar Tiranga 2026 campaign ahead of Independence Day. From cities to villages, citizens are carrying the tricolour and celebrating the spirit of national unity and pride. In Raipur, Chief Minister Vishnu Deo Sai will participate in Tiranga Yatra from Indoor Stadium to Subhash Stadium. Home Minister Vijay Sharma and Cabinet Ministers O.P. Chaudhary and Rajesh Agrawal will also take part in the procession. In Doda, a mega Tiranga rally was held under the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign 2026 along with celebrations marking 150 years of Vande Mataram. The event witnessed enthusiastic participation from people across the district. A Tiranga Yatra was organized in Delhi's Chandni Chowk. The procession saw enthusiastic participation from people including youth and students celebrating the tricolour and remembering the sacrifices of freedom fighters. And in Dharamshala also, Tiranga Yatra was organized to mark Independence Day. Dharamshala Mayor Shamsher Nehria highlighted the tricolour as a symbol of unity, integrity and nationalism. A special invitation kit for the Independence Day celebrations at Rashtrapati Bhavan on August 15 has been designed by NID Ahmedabad, showcasing India's rich folk art and craft traditions. The kit features traditional art forms from Chhattisgarh, Goa, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, including Dokra, Azulejo, Bhil, Bak print and Varli art. More than 220 people, including around 100 artisans, contributed to the project. Through its focus on local crafts and depictions of nature and rural life, the initiative promotes the spirit of vocal for local while highlighting India's unity in diversity and the importance of environmental conservation. As the world looks for cleaner alternatives to fossil fuels, biofuels are emerging as an important part of the energy transition. For India, the focus is not just on alternative fuels, but also on turning agricultural residue and waste into energy, while creating opportunities for farmers and rural communities. On World Biofuel Day, a look at India's growing biofuel ecosystem.
Biofuel is not new to India. But over the past decade, the government has expanded the policy and infrastructure supporting its production and use. The national policy on biofuels, introduced in 2018, brought a wider range of feedstocks into the ecosystem, from sugarcane and grains to agricultural residue, used cooking oil and municipal waste. The objective is to make biofuels part of India's energy mix and circular economy.
प्रकृति की पूजा करने वाले हमारे देश में बायोफ्यूल या जैविक ईंधन प्रकृति की रक्षा का ही एक पर्याय है। हमारे किसान भाई बहन तो इसे और अच्छी तरह समझते हैं। हमारे लिए जैव ईंधन यानी हरियाली लाने वाला ईंधन।
A key example is India's first commercial 2G ethanol plant at Panipat, dedicated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2022. The plant uses agricultural residue, including paddy straw, processing around 2 lakh tons of rice straw every year to produce nearly 3 crore liters of ethanol. The aim is to turn crop residue into an economic resource while reducing the need for its burning. The push also extends to compressed biogas or CBG. Through the SATAT initiative and Gobar Dhan, agricultural residue, cattle dung and other organic waste can be converted into biogas and CBG for transport and industry. India is also supporting advanced biofuels and exploring sustainable aviation fuel. At the global level, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the Global Biofuels Alliance at the G20 Summit in 2023 to promote technology, standards and wider adoption of sustainable biofuels. For India, therefore, biofuels are not merely an alternative fuel. They are also about energy security, waste to wealth, opportunities for farmers and cleaner energy. As this ecosystem expands, the challenge will be to make it economically viable and technologically sustainable across the entire value chain. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, moving on to other stories. On the World Lion Day, India celebrates the conservation success that began with the population on the brink of extinction. Today, Gujarat is home to 891 Asiatic lions, 32% rise since 2020 and more than 70% growth over the last decade. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya with this report.
A roar that once stood on the edge of silence is today echoing across the landscapes of Gujarat. This is the Asiatic lion, one of the world's most iconic big cats, and one of India's greatest conservation stories. For centuries, the lion has been woven into India's cultural imagination, but by the beginning of the 20th century, its number had fallen dramatically. The Asiatic lion survived in just one wild population in and around the Gir landscape of Gujarat, and that made its survival both a success story and a conservation challenge. The numbers tells a story. In 2010, Gujarat recorded 411 lions. By 2015, the number had risen to 523. In 2020, it reached 674. And the latest population estimation in 2025 recorded 891 lions. That is an increase of more than 32% in 5 years and over 70% in a decade. The number of adult females have also increased from 260 in 2020 to 330 in 2025, an important indicator of the population's reproductive strength. But perhaps the biggest challenge is not just the number of lions, it is in where they are being found. Lions are occupying notified forest, river corridors, revenue wastelands, and other satellite habitat across Doordarshan. One of the most significant development is happening at the Barda Wildlife Sanctuary. Once again, the lion is expanding naturally into a landscape where it had disappeared. After lions naturally moved into Barda in 2023, the population had grown to 17 by 2025, including 6 adults and 11 cubs, from 411 lions in 2010 to 891 in 2025. The Asiatic lion has traveled a remarkable distance. A species once pushed towards extinction is once again expanding across its historic landscape. Tapush Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
And the flood situation in Assam's Golaghat district has worsened, with the Dhansuri river inundating new areas daily. Several residential areas in the Suthimuk under Khumtai constituency have again been affected by rising floodwaters. Around 14,000 families and 52,000 people have been affected by the floods in Golaghat. The district administration has set up 32 relief camps where around 1,300 people are taking shelter. Residents of several villages are concerned as flood water has entered the compounds of several homes in the Suthimuk. Further rise in water levels could inundate more villages. Meanwhile, on Sunday, Assam Minister Atul Bora inspected flood-hit areas in Golaghat district, interacted with residents and reviewed relief efforts. He said it was the second wave of floods and directed officials to ensure food, drinking water and livestock support, while informing that damage assessment is underway.
पहले जो लोग यहाँ पे था चला गया था तो फिर आ गया क्योंकि धनश्री का पानी बह रही है तो इसलिए हमारा गवर्नमेंट का तरफ से एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का तरफ से जो करना है कर रहा है हर दम कर रहा है लोगों को रेशन देना और कैटल फीड देना और बायोसिक्योरिटी के लिए जो कुछ करना है पेनाइल एसेंशियल कमोडिटीज सभी कुछ दे रहा है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन।
Now, the national capital witnessed rainfall on Monday, bringing relief from the prevailing heat. The India Meteorological Department issued a red warning for Delhi NCR, forecasting moderate rain at many places and heavy rain at isolated locations, accompanied by moderate thunderstorms and lightning over the next few days. And India's High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Dinesh Trivedi, on Monday met Bangladesh Prime Minister Tariq Rahman and Home Minister Salahuddin Ahmed with discussions focusing on strengthening bilateral relations and cooperation in areas of mutual interest. Trivedi paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Tariq Rahman on August 10 and conveyed greetings from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He conveyed India's intent to work with the government and people of Bangladesh in a positive, constructive and forward-looking manner. The two sides exchanged views on matters of mutual interest and discussed avenues to further strengthen India-Bangladesh relations with a people-centric approach. Trivedi also met Bangladesh Home Minister Salahuddin Ahmed. Discussions covered bilateral relations and areas of common interest, including security cooperation between the two countries. The Indian High Commissioner conveyed India's willingness to strengthen people-centric cooperation across all domains based on mutual interest, mutual benefit and mutual sensitivities. Now, UEFA, the Asian Football Confederation and CONCACAF, which runs football in the Caribbean, North and Central America, issued an open letter on Monday criticizing FIFA President Gianni Infantino over the proposed sale of a stake in World Cup's commercial rights. The confederations accused Infantino of breaking trust and placing himself above the collective while calling for an independent review of the now abandoned plan. UEFA, backed by the AFC and CONCACAF, has threatened to boycott FIFA tournaments unless it receives assurances that similar proposals will not be made again. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.